This land has a long legacy of agriculture. It was a special place for food production from native Hawaiians, and more in the recent history for sugarcane production. It is considered one of the most productive ag lands in the world, and from our current perspective, it is considered one of the most productive and sustainable areas, not only because of the quality of the soil, but also because of its availability of water to irrigate the lands, its climatic conditions, the amount of sunlight that we receive on an annual basis, and for us today, its proximity to the major market in the state. That means if a farmer is growing high-value crops, they don't need a lot of infrastructure to get the product to market. And this means that the production costs go down, so the farmer can make more money on a per-acre basis as compared to a farmer growing tomatoes in Waiana side or in another island like Molokai or Big Island. So in a way, it's an invaluable piece of land. There's been a movement to try to preserve the Ho'opili lands from development, especially considering that over the past 50 years, about half of the prime ag lands in the state have been lost to development. So the community is saying enough is enough, and let's protect this valuable piece of land for future generations. These lands, again, are considered amongst the most productive in the world. In the sugarcane days, the yields of sugarcane in Hawaii were the highest in the world, but the yields in this particular area were about 50% higher than the average yields in the state because the amount of sunlight, quality of the soil. So it is an invaluable piece of land. In terms of current production, until recently, about 30% of the land used for food production was located in this area. And also until recently, about 30% of the vegetable crops that were grown in Oahu were grown in this location. So this means that if we don't no longer have this land, the crops will have to grow somewhere else, and the cost of production may be greater. This area was famous recently because of its production of pumpkins, muskmelons, melons, and it would be very difficult to find another location in the island, if not in the state, to grow this quality of pumpkins and melons, just because they need such a high radiation, sunlight radiation. For example, we tried to grow these melons in Upper Kula, and even though they grew well, they weren't able to accumulate the amount of sugars required for quality cucurbits production. The soil in this area also serves as a filter to clean the water from pollution. Here we are just upslope from the Pearl Harbor Aquifer. This week, there was an article in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences that surveyed nitrogen deposits throughout the world, showing the increased level of nitrogen emissions primarily because of agricultural activities. So again, green lands, soil, help to filter and to clean the environment and the water and the land. And the loss of such pieces of land would mean that we will have to mitigate pollution in other ways. The soil is our most valuable resource, and we think of the soil almost as a bank account. Every time that you take care of the soil, that you grow a crop, that you diversify, follow permaculture practices, you are improving the soil. So every day, every year, every generation, the soil is a little better. And let's push our legislators to follow the mandates that have been on the paper for many years, which have said you need to identify and to preserve the most valuable lands in the state.